What's up, cats? Today we're doing another controller repair. This controller was chewed up by my dog at the same time as the Xbox 360 controller. So you can see we got plenty of teeth marks here that I'm actually going to live with. None of it really affects my grip, and I don't want to sand down on the gloss because obviously it'll take off that reflective finish. So instead what we're going to do is replace just the joysticks. I've never gone inside a PS4 controller, so much like the 360 controller, this will be a learning experience for me and you. My big concerns here is I've never opened up a controller that will have a lithium-ion rechargeable battery, and the touchpad, I'm not sure how that is mounted in there, how it's secured. So I hope there's not a lot of small pieces or ribbon cables that I might break, but we will find out. So to get started, well, first off, before I remove any screws, I want to point out I have this little magnetic tab here. This is for a Volta cable. It allows me to charge several devices with the same cable. So it's magnetic, sort of like Mac products, Apple products. This is a standard micro USB, and you can also get these tabs for iPhones or for USB Type-C, and then all those devices will be able to charge with a single cable. With that out of the way, I can immediately see we have 4 screws, possibly a 5th underneath the sticker. So to replace it, I have these set of joysticks that I bought again from walmart.com, and not a sponsor, just where I happened to find it. So you have the actual caps here that will fit to the board, and then you have the joysticks that fit on with a little magnet, and you have them in different sizes with concaved and convexed joysticks. The other cool thing about them, I think will be appropriate for the Darth Vader controller, is they have these chrome edges that I think might look really nice. So I'm actually going to put on these shorter sticks because they are closer to the standard joystick height, and I like the concave shape to them. I have these heightened ones, but the quality doesn't seem to be as good. Some of the texture is a little rough there. But in this kit, it also came with 2 screwdrivers. So we have this blue one here that is for security. So it has a small hole inside of it, and it looks like it has 6-sided star. And then we have a standard Phillips, which is what we will start with. So here we go. This kit is not does not give you magnetic screwdrivers, which is too bad. That was helpful in the last kit. Oh. Well, I take that back. It is magnetic, it's just not a very strong magnet. So that's nice. Alright, so let's see if we can get this apart or if we need to take off that sticker. Alright. I think there is a screw underneath that sticker. I'm going to secure these screws to a sheet of paper. As I said in the last video, I do this so that if it ever falls off the table, they don't go spilling everywhere. I can just pick it right back up. Also, I can write on the paper to label the screws. That way I know where they go. So now I can write that this is for outside controller. Okay, so now we gotta get this sticker off, which is too bad. Well, that's a bummer. That does not peel cleanly. I just took off just a like plastic layer. So let's keep going. Well, it appears that I was wrong. Where I thought there'd be a screw, it looks like it's just the injection mold for the plastic. I just turned on my PlayStation. Well, I hit a roadblock far earlier than anticipated here. I might have to look up where this screw is. There's obviously something keeping it together still. I really don't want to break the touchpad because that's kind of the coolest part of the Darth Vader controller. The colored buttons that are meant to look like his chest plate really aren't all that exciting, but I like that it just says Star Wars over and over. Feels like it's hanging on right here in front of the joysticks, but I don't see a screw, and I don't want to like pry anything. What's funny is I thought that this one was going to be easier just because I didn't have to change out the buttons. It was just take the plate off, put on new joysticks, and close it back up. But step number one is getting the thing open. It's almost as if Sony doesn't want you to open up their stuff. It is a very glossy controller. Okay, so I had to cheat. I got too nervous that I was going to break the controller. Apparently there isn't a fifth screw. There's nothing holding it together. It is simply, you just gotta pull it apart. And one video recommended using a flathead screwdriver, so we're gonna try that. So you gotta work it. See, that sounded like something broke. Maybe not. Maybe that was progress. It didn't feel like progress. It felt like breaking. So I've worked it into the side there, and I'm going to try and run it along the rest of the controller, just kind of wiggling. I'm trying to separate it the best I can, but it doesn't feel good, that's for sure. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't seem to be working very well. The left side has separated a reasonable amount. But the right side, I can't get to separate. So I cheated a little bit, but I didn't watch the entire video of the disassembly, so even once I get this open, I'll return to flying blind. This is nerve-wracking. This just doesn't feel like I'm doing it right. I also don't know if the triggers are supposed to stay with the bottom half or if they're supposed to move away with the top half. I want to get inside there to see what's clamping it so hard. Like, is it a little clip that I need to disengage? I don't understand what grips it so tight. Hey, there it goes. Okay. Alright, so let's see what we have here. We do have a ribbon cable, as I feared. Here's our battery. It looks like, well, first of all, it does look like I broke something. There's a tiny piece there. It probably belongs to something. But the rest of it, we have battery, we got rumble motors. This is the LED light in the back. These are triggers. Bumpers do remove with the top half. So let's see. Let's unplug the battery. All right. There's our battery. Battery's out. I'm still not sure. I can see things that might snap in, but I don't actually know what kept it in so tight. I'm gonna try and undo this ribbon cable here. There we go. All right. So here's the bottom half of the controller. You can see the triggers there. Hopefully I didn't lose a spring. Okay, no I didn't. I can see them. So you can see this is kind of interesting. I remember in the Xbox controller it was more of a traditional like coil spring, like a very stereotypical spring. But here they're kind of an unusual shape. And it's only coiled twice around. So make sure that those stay there. You certainly don't want to lose those. This is all kind of bolted in there pretty heavy duty. The very last thing I need to get to is the actual joysticks. Looks like I'll have to remove the battery housing and possibly undo this screw here. I don't know how to get the rumble motors out though, because they don't just rest inside there like with the 360 controller. They have this whole plastic casing around them. It's also interesting to note that the right rumble motor only has one little weight attached to it, and the left has 4 of them. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe that's just to give it an offset, rumble a little more. So I need to remember though, this here is for the battery. This ribbon cable here is for the powering the LED light. I think that's all it powers. So this battery housing already feels kind of loose. But again, I'm not really sure what's keeping it in the first place. We might have to go back to using the Phillips screwdriver. There's the reset button, I'm pretty sure. You can see right here is normally where the reset button is. Well, we pretty quickly ran into another roadblock. Bumpers still work. There it is. Not 100% sure what I did differently. I believe this tab right here and this tab right here is what clips in the battery housing. So let's go ahead, we will unscrew this here and hope that that's the only screw holding in the circuit board. Because after that, we should be able to get to the joysticks, maybe. Just like before, I'm gonna tape it down. I'll label that later. All right. So let's see what we got. I can also see, I might try gluing this back together. You can see right here and here on either side of the microphone is where it's supposed to clip in, and this one here was damaged when I was trying to open it up. So be careful when you're opening these up. I'm not sure if the flathead screwdriver was the best method. Just a PSA, fair warning. All right, so now I'm gonna try and take out the board, maybe. Okay, this is all much larger than I thought. This is all connected. I know it's hard to see with my hands in the way. I can see that we're almost to the joysticks. Ah, okay. You can see there, it's the touchpad that is holding me back. It's somehow hooked on there. Well, I felt something go loose. I don't know what I just lost. Oh boy. Oh, okay. It's the option button. And I think the start button is about to fall. It's because I'm holding it the way I shouldn't. Ah, okay. So, let me get focused so you can see what's happening here. It's important to note there is a ribbon cable connecting the touchpad to the circuit board. And I really don't want to break that cable. They do give you this tiny tab to grab onto. I assume that's to grab onto. Oh boy, more buttons are falling out. I wonder if I should get pliers for this ribbon cable. The problem is it's now like taut, and I'd want to try and set it back in there. Alright, I'm gonna try and get some pliers. Alright, the good news is I remembered I had these tweezers that I got from a soldering kit. So hopefully they will help. Maybe not be as aggressive as needle nose pliers. Let's try and wiggle this cable out. I can't tell if it has, I've seen other videos where they have a little tab that you have to pull to unlock it, and I can't tell if this has that specific tab. Okay, I got it free. That might have been bad practice, I don't know. But in theory, the touchpad is safely separated. And I can get the board out. The keyword, of course, is in theory, because this tab is still causing problems. Things keep getting caught up or jammed just because it has to all be in there so precisely. There we go. Okay, let's not dump all the buttons out. So let's see what we have here. I'm still gonna try and get the touchpad out, maybe. Maybe not, I don't know if that's worth it. But good news is we finally made it down to just the board. I didn't expect it to come apart into like 3 larger parts. So we have our face buttons here. We have the D-pad contacts there. Then there's the home button. These two are the share and option buttons. And again, this ribbon cable obviously goes to the touchpad. So let's go ahead and take these sticks off. So here's the thought of the thumbstick. You can see it's just a little warped. It's not too bad. Probably wasn't worth the trouble of trying to take this thing apart, but I think the new sticks will look good. So just like with the Xbox controller, you can see that it has the rounded top, but then the straight edges there. So you just have to line that up with the straight edges there. You can also see that this reflective bit, that's actually the magnet. And that's what's going to allow me to change these caps quickly and easily on the fly, which is kind of fun. You can see that this one has a small number 2 inside it. I'm curious if the other one has a number 1. No, they both say number 2, so it shouldn't matter. In theory, these will also make reassembly slightly easier, just because the rubber won't get in the way, it won't catch on anything. All right. Set that aside. And let's try and reassemble this now. So let's first set this over here. We'll get this top half. Make sure the home button is set. And the share and option buttons. The real nightmare is going to be the touchpad. So let's try and rehook this so you can see there are these 2 towers here on the top of the shell that we'll have to thread through here and through here. All right, nope. This touchpad has to be totally separated, or at least in my opinion it does. That was all it took. That was dumb. Okay. So, let's make sure the ribbon cable is on the inside. There we go. touchpad is secured. We need to get the ribbon cable back through this square hole. It's difficult to do this where camera can see it all. Okay, I managed to get the touchpad ribbon cable through, which is right here. So before I try and set that back in, I'm going to go back to my sheet of paper and take my screw for the circuit board. So here's the screw for the circuit board, and here is the Phillips screwdriver. Let's try and make sure it's all lined up. Alright, so let's flip this over again. Alright, we still have to get this dreaded ribbon cable back in. It looks like there's a little, I'm going to zoom in on that here. So on the ribbon cable, there's this little white line, which I think will indicate when it's all the way secure. There we go. So you see the white line set right up against the, I don't know what you call that, the intake of the ribbon cable, the outlet. Anyway, just know that that white line probably indicates something important. Okay, so now we can do the battery. That just clips right back in. That's pretty easy to secure. That feels good. So the last thing should be to bring the bottom half back in and secure this ribbon cable back to that spot. I didn't pay attention to see which way the cable was facing, so we'll see how that goes, I guess. Based off of the natural fold of the cable, I feel like the blue will point towards the outside of the controller. This is not easy to demonstrate for camera. Just want to show what I'm trying to do here. So I'm trying to take this ribbon cable into here. But I'm not very good at it. So I'm going to fiddle with that, and you'll just have to figure it out on your own. Oh no! Lost my first trigger. That was pretty easy. It took some time, and I'm not sure if it is in the correct way yet, but you can see that I have the ribbon cable in to try and not block it. I have the ribbon cable plugged into this part of the board here to the right of the battery. Alright, so now only thing left to do is to put it back together and go test it. Which, judging by how hard it was to take apart, might be hard to put back together. Well, the good news is I have power. So I did something right. Well, this is it. Right here. This is my new controller. Oh no, trigger's falling again. This one's hard. This one's frustrating. Again, I'm sure I'm just making dumb mistakes and it's probably easier just to watch a tutorial. But this trial by fire is also kind of fun. It's kind of taunting me, because right now I like the look. I like the silver as opposed to just the plain black. I might have to cheat again and watch the rest of the reassembly. So what I'm doing now is I've removed the triggers from the bottom of the shell. And I want to make sure that they line up with this spring. So there's the spring right here, and then there's these set of clips for this black spot, this black bar here to snap into. So you want to make sure that those go under the spring and that they clip in. And you should be able to feel resistance. Hopefully that'll help, but maybe not. All right, that seemed to have made the difference. So I put the triggers, I attached them actually to the top half of the shelf first. So now all I have to do is put the screws in. Alright, so now let's put the new caps on and then we will give it a test. So again, I have some options here, and I can just snap them on. Now if I decide that I don't like them, take them off, and I can mix and match, make this one a little taller if I want. But for now, I'm just going to do the standard height chrome concave. Let's go try them out. Okay, so we're gonna test it out real quick. Controller's been reassembled, joysticks are working. Jump, dodge, attack normally, and triangle, I can't remember what that does, but let's see. It all feels all right. Would I say it's worth it? I am not sure. They feel fine. I just don't know if it was worth the trouble, because getting into the controller was more difficult than I anticipated, and I think that was probably something Sony designed to maybe give a little bit of a hurdle. If you know what you're doing, it's not that difficult, but I wouldn't say that this was really a good beginner's repair. But everything works fine. I think the joysticks are slightly taller than normal. But other than that, they feel okay. I will say I think they look better. I like the black and like chrome on the bottom there. I don't know if you can get a good sense of the shine versus just the black and white plastic. These new joysticks feel a little bit more like Darth Vader to me. Anyways, I think that's all there is to the video. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you want me to do more of these videos. And follow me on social media. I now have a Twitter and Instagram account at Blam_cat. I mostly post video game related photos. And with that, I will see y'all in the next one.